Hello and welcome, students. We have completed the summary of the poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and now we will discuss the themes in this poem. I hope you have understood this poem. So, this Rime of the Ancient Mariner is basically a tale of retribution. Since the ancient mariner spends most of the poem paying for his one impulsive error of killing the albatross, the spiritual world avenges the albatross's death by wreaking physical and psychological havoc on the ancient mariner and his shipmates. Okay, what is the meaning of retribution? Retribution is actually the act of undoing what you have done wrong. That is, इसका प्रतिकार करना. It is dand milna. So what happens when this ancient mariner, when he kills albatross, he is punished. It is actually the punishment. जो बदला लिया जाता है किसी से, that is retribution. So even before the sailors die, their punishment is extensive. They become delirious from a debilitating state of thirst. That is, वो इतने ज़्यादा प्यासे होते हैं, their lips bake black in the sun, and they must endure the torment of seeing water all around them while being unable to drink it for its saltiness. You remember that famous line, water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. That is, there is water everywhere, but the tragedy is that they can't even drink. They are feeling so thirsty. Their lips are so parched, their throats are so parched that they can barely speak. They can't even utter a single word. So, this is the kind of punishment which they get. And why do they get this punishment? Because when the ancient mariner, he kills the albatross, some of them support this act of his. So this support for this wrongdoing, this wrong act, the killing of the albatross, actually causes all their suffering. Eventually, all the sailors die, their souls flying either to heaven or to hell. There are at least two ways to interpret the fact that sailors suffer with the ancient mariner, although they themselves have not erred, that is, they themselves have not committed the punishment, but still they are suffering. The first is that retribution is blind. सबसे पहली बात कि दंड अंधा होता है, वो जिसको मिलना होता है, नहीं भी मिलना होता है, उसको भी मिल जाता है. Inspired by anger and the desire to punish others, even a spirit may hurt the wrong people. And the second is that the sailors are implicated in the ancient mariner's crime. If the ancient mariner represents the universal sinner, then each sailor, as a human, is guilty of having at some point disrespected one of God's creatures, or if not, he would have done in the future. But the eternal punishment called life and death is reserved for the ancient mariner. Now you know that life and death is a worse punishment than death, because death actually relieves you of all the pain. And life and death means that you are living but you are as good as a dead person. So this is the worst kind of punishment. So life and death is reserved for the ancient mariner. Presumably, the spirit, being immortal, must endure eternal grief over the murder of its beloved albatross. So in retribution, it forces the ancient mariner to endure that eternal torment as well in the form of his curse. And what is a curse? Curse क्या होता है? Curse होता है श्राप. Though he never dies and may never, in a sense, the ancient mariner speaks from beyond the grave to warn others about the harsh, permanent consequences of momentary foolishness, selfishness, and disrespect of the natural world. That is, why did he kill? Why did he kill albatross? Actually, there's no proper reason for it. ऐसे ही मन में आया और मार दिया. So this is not done. But albatross also has a right to live. So if you kill anyone, then naturally you will bring havoc on yourself. So the natural world's power in this poem is unquestionable. That nature is very powerful. At times, the natural world seems to be a character itself, based on the way it interacts with the ancient mariner. From the moment the ancient mariner offends the spirit of the rhyme, retribution comes in the form of natural phenomena. The wind dies, हवा बिल्कुल खत्म हो जाती है. The sun intensifies and it will not rain. The ocean becomes revolting, rotting, and thrashing with slimy creatures. Slimy creatures are those snakes and eels. Only when the ancient mariner expresses his love for the natural world, the water snakes, that is, especially when he sees the water snakes, does his punishment lessen a bit. वो तब थोड़ा कम होती है, and when we see that albatross which was tied round his neck, it falls off. A spirit, whether god or a pagan one, dominates the physical world in order to punish and inspire reverence in the ancient mariner. That is, there is someone, the spirit, चाहे वो भगवान मानो उसको, चाहे you understand any other spirit, the powerful spirit. So this spirit actually inspires reverence in the ancient mariner. Reverence is respect. So you have to respect nature. So at the poem's end, the mariner preaches respect for the natural world as a way to remain in good standing with the spiritual world. Because in order to respect God, one must respect all his creatures. Like God has created everyone. God has created the nature, the plants, that is, whether they are plants or whether animals or human beings or any material things. It is believed that God has created everything. So if you want to respect God, you have to respect the creation of God. अगर ईश्वर की हम रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं तो ईश्वर के द्वारा निर्मित जो भी चीज़ें हैं उनका हमें सम्मान करना चाहिए. So this is what this ancient mariner he teaches, and that is why he valorizes the hermit who sets example of both prayer and living in harmony with nature. And in his final advice to the wedding guest, you remember the wedding guest to whom he narrates his story, he gives the advice that one can access the sublime, that is the image of a greater and better world, only by seeing the value in the petty things of daily life. That is, if we respect the normal things in daily life, only then we can respect God and we can be closer to God. Then in this actually Coleridge also tells the act of storytelling. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Coleridge draws our attention not only to the Ancient Mariner story but to the act of storytelling itself, that how you should tell the story and how the stories are told. Ancient Mariner's tale comprises so much of the poem that moments that occur outside of it often seems like interruptions. कि वो कहानी इतनी मजबूत है कि जब बाहर की कोई चीज़ है, when the guest is getting disturbed or when the guest feels that he wants to go, so these sort of things, they feel that they are interrupting the flow of the story. So therefore, we are not only Coleridge's audience but Ancient Mariner's audience so too. Therefore, the messages that the protagonist delivered to his audience apply to us. So, this poem can also be seen as an allegory for the writer's task. Coleridge uses the word teach to describe the Ancient Mariner's storytelling and says that he has strange power of speech. So, in this way, he compares the protagonist to himself, and both are gifted storytellers who impart their wisdom to others. And especially by associating himself with the Ancient Mariner, Coleridge implies that he, by the extension of all the writers, are not only inspired but compelled to write. Now, these writers actually, how do you think that these writers write? They have that great urge. They are actually compelled कि ज़बरदस्ती उनके अंदर से stories निकलती हैं and they write. And sometimes their gift is equally a curse. That is, the pleasure of writing is also marred by torment or disturbance or pain. And according to this interpretation, the writer writes not to please himself or others, but to state a painful urge. That is, they have an urge to tell the story. That is why these writers write. Like similarly, this Ancient Mariner, he has that intense agony and pain, and just to relieve that pain, he has to narrate his story to someone. So this time, when we read the poem, he is narrating this story to the wedding guest. And in this poem, there can also be a theme of imprisonment. So, the Rime of the Ancient Mariner is in many ways a portrait of imprisonment. Imprisonment means जेल खाना हो जाता है. एंड जेल में क्या होता है? यू आर लोनली एंड यू आर टॉर्मेंटेड. तुम दुखी भी होते हो और अकेलापन भी महसूस होता है. So, the first instance of imprisonment occurs when the sailors are swept by a storm into the ice. And the ice is very high, mast high, and the captain cannot steer the ship through it. The sailor's confinement in the disorienting rime foreshadows the Ancient Mariner's later imprisonment within the limbo-like existence, like life and death. So, in the beginning of the poem, the ship is a vehicle of adventure, and the sailors set out in one another's happy company. But however, when the Ancient Mariner shoots the albatross, it quickly becomes a prison. Without wind to sail the ship, the sailors lose all control over their fate, and they are cut off from civilization. Even though they have each other's company, but still they feel very lonely, and they are imprisoned further by thirst which silences them. प्यास के मारे उनसे बोला भी नहीं जा रहा था. So they all were quiet. That is, they were like imprisoned. They were like prisoners, that they could not speak, they could not communicate with each other, and that effectively puts them in isolation, and they are denied the basic human ability to communicate. And when the sailors drop dead, the ship becomes a private prison for the Ancient Mariner. So we can also say that this poem is also, it has a theme of imprisonment. And another theme in this poem is, it can be that of religion. Like we see that the poet, that is Coleridge, he claimed that he did not intend to have any moral in the poem, but the Ancient Mariner essentially preaches closeness to God through prayer and the willingness to show respect to all God's creatures. Like he says that you should be close to creatures, you should respect creatures, you should respect the creation of God. So, by respecting the creation of God, you are actually narrating that religion is very important in one's life and we should follow God's dictates or God's commands. So, in this poem, we have seen there are various themes. So, I have given you a detailed analysis of the themes. So, I hope you have understood the themes of this poem. This is all for today. Thank you for patient listening.